week edition of your breakfast show, Leadership Television, Inside Nigeria. My name is Winifred Webber. Today is June 4, 2025. And of course, I was almost biting my tongue there. However, on today's program, we have some papers for review. And of course, that includes Nigeria's most influential leadership. We always flag up with leadership on this show. And today we are doing just that. Let's look at what leadership has on its menu this Wednesday. Leadership's only leading story today, because they still have wraparound beneath that leading story. It says 2027 APC rules out automatic tickets for Akpabio, Abbas, other lawmakers. The story continues on page 4 of Leadership. 2027 APC rules out automatic tickets for Akpabio, Abbas, other lawmakers. It's also one of the stories that also graced the cover, I think, a few days ago, when it says automatic tickets for APC defectors will cause an implosion in the party. But however, just before we go further, let's see some excerpts from that leading story on page 4 of the paper. APC rules out automatic tickets for Akpabio, Abbas, other lawmakers. The All Progressives Congress, APC, on Tuesday said it did not grant automatic tickets to its members in the National Assembly to contest the 2027 general election. APC National Publicity Secretary Felix Moka, who made this clarification, described media reports to that effect as fake and urged party members and the public to disregard the report. The attention of the All Progressives Congress, APC, has been drawn to a purported breaking news report tagged APC grants automatic tickets to all National Assembly members in viral circulation. We urge all party members and the general public to disregard the report as fake and of mischievous origin, he said. Leadership on Monday exclusively reported, that's what I said earlier, reported an unease in the APC over the prospects of automatic tickets for lawmakers. APC sources and those within the party's governors forum, the Progressives Governors Forum, told leadership that some governors oppose the automatic ticket option and were set to meet the APC national chairman, Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, over the contentious issue. These are excerpts from the leading story on today's leadership cover. APC rules out automatic tickets for Akpabio, Abbas, other lawmakers. From that leading story, we move over to page 3, where we have our stand. Today's stand is on ECOWAS at 50, resetting West Africa's growth agenda. ECOWAS just completed 50 years of anniversary of his establishment, and of course the president was in Lagos last weekend to commemorate the event. The President Bola Tinubu is the chairman of ECOWAS. On Wednesday, May 28, 2025, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, rolled out the drums to celebrate its landmark 50th anniversary in Lagos, Nigeria, its birthplace. The celebration evoked memories of unity, shared values, and a collective aspiration for economic development and regional integration. For 5 decades, the regional bloc, founded in 1975 through the Lagos Treaty, has evolved into a platform for political coordination, economic emancipation, and sub-regional solidarity. Let's move towards the conclusion, of course, the stand of the paper. It says, in the words of former United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan, Africa cannot afford to outsource its development. The continent must act decisively to drive change or risk being left behind in the evolving global order. We strongly believe that West Africa must rethink its development agenda to mitigate future risk. The region must reduce its over-dependence on external actors and pursue a self-defined, inclusive growth model. This will require both political will, structural reforms, and a renewed commitment to regional cooperation and intra-African trade. Excerpts from today's stand in leadership. Like I always explain, the stand in leadership, just like every other papers, the editorial, is the view, the stand of the paper for the day. So this is the view of leadership newspaper as captured or extrapolated in its stand today. From our stand, we move to the back page of leadership, where we have Wednesday column with Olufunke Baruwa. Today's Wednesday column, she's writing on swept away, tackling Nigeria's perennial flooding challenges. swept away, tackling Nigeria's perennial flooding challenges. Let's take some quotes that quote from the column. It says, with political will, strategic infrastructural investment, and a whole of society approach, Nigeria can address its flooding challenges and build a more resilient future. Quote from Wednesday column today with Olufunke Barowa on swept away, tackling Nigeria's perennial flooding challenges. Before we leave the back page, we must not fail to visit Ghana Must Go. The news says, man arrested for raping stepdaughter. Of course, Ghana Must Go replied, he should be castrated. With that, we conclude review of Leadership newspaper this Wednesday. Don't forget to join in and log into the website for continuation of those headline stories, the stand, the back page, and even inside stories of the paper. Let's move ahead to other papers we have on our lineup. We still have to talk politics, and that is in The Guardian. The Guardian today says, poll rates Tinubu government high as opposition critics disagree. The story continues on page 6 of The Guardian newspaper. Of course, we are still talking politics. From leadership on APC rules out automatic tickets for Akpabio, Abbas, other lawmakers. We bet at The Guardian, we says that poll rates Tinubu government high as opposition critics disagree. Still on The Guardian, Telcos kick as banks plan USSD fee deduction from end users. Mokwa flood, federal government blames blocked tributary climate change. Crisis looms in APC as party rejects automatic bid for aspirants. Same leading story on leadership this Wednesday, and is also gracing the cover of The Guardian. Crisis looms in APC as party rejects automatic ticket bid for aspirants. Lastly, on the cover of The Guardian newspaper, neutral group Mahmuda kills 3 in Kwara. Neutral group Mahmuda kills 3 in Kwara. The story continues on page 3 of The Guardian. And of course, on that note, we conclude review because just like leadership, The Guardian also has a wraparound beneath these leading stories. Don't forget to visit the website of The Guardian for continuation of these headline stories. From The Guardian, we move to the next paper we have on our lineup, and that is The Nation. The Nation also, like previous papers before it, also has wraparound. But the leading story says, bring up alternative policies, presidency tells critics. Bring up alternative policies, presidency tells critics. Federal government cautious on state police take off. Federal government cautious on state police take off. This is a rider to that leading story on The Nation. Bring up alternative policies, presidency tells critics. In other words, it's not just to lay blame, to criticize, but however, critique in a constructive manner. Still on The Nation newspaper, the second leading story there today says, supporters hopeful as Fubara meets Tinubu. President hosts Governor Adeleke brother Davido. President hosts Governor Adeleke brother Davido. Of course, he recalled that the Osun State Governor Adeleke has actually gone to Supreme Court to challenge the withholding of local government funds from his local councils. However, today says President hosts Governor Adeleke brother Davido, and the story runs on page 2 of The Nation newspaper. It's on that note we conclude review of front headline stories on The Nation this Wednesday. Don't forget to visit the website of The Nation for continuation of these headline stories. However, from here we just have to take a break. When we come back, we'll be looking at other papers we have on our lineup. Don't go away. Stay tuned.
Discover Turkey through education. The culture-rich country of Turkey, which has hosted a myriad of civilization throughout the centuries, is a global pioneer in education. Turkey offers various lucrative opportunities for students. Despite its quality living standards, the cost of living in Turkey is affordable compared to other European countries. A diploma from globally recognized and renowned universities in Turkey will open every door for you. For more information, visit leadership.ng/study in Turkey. Discover Turkey through education. The culture-rich country of Turkey, which has hosted a myriad of civilization throughout the centuries, is a global pioneer in education. Turkey offers various lucrative opportunities for students. Despite its quality living standards, the cost of living in Turkey is affordable compared to other European countries. A diploma from globally recognized and renowned universities in Turkey will open every door for you. For more information, visit leadership.ng/study in Turkey.
Yes, welcome back. In case you're just joining in, the program is newspaper review on the program Inside Nigeria on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Bebo once again. Of course, we continue with the papers we have on our lineup today, and the next one is the Punch newspaper. The Punch is talking flooding because of what has just played out in Mokwa local government council of Niger State. It says flood alert, NEMA deploys teams in 15 high-risk states. Flood alert, NEMA deploys teams in 15 high-risk states as agency warns of fresh heavy flooding. Federal government insists on evacuation. Niger recovers more corpses. The story runs on page 2 of the Punch. Flood alert, NEMA deploys teams in 15 high-risk states as agency warns of fresh heavy flooding. Federal government insists on evacuation. Niger recovers more corpses. That is the leading story, only leading story on the Punch newspaper this Wednesday. Of course, the story beside the masthead is advertorial. It's on that note we conclude review of front headline stories of the Punch this Wednesday. Let's look at what other papers have on their cover this Wednesday. And let's look at Nigerian Tribune. Sorry, before we look at Nigerian Tribune, I think we should just have to go to Vanguard newspaper because Vanguard is also talking flooding. Vanguard says Niger flood 1,249 communities in 30 states. FCT at risk, coming from federal government. Same leading story on the Punch newspaper this Wednesday. Niger flood 1,249 communities in 30 states. FCT at risk, coming from the federal government. Says no water was released from Kainji, Jeba dams. Knows flood caused by heavy rainfall, heightened by global warming. As states take up federal government's challenge. Leading story today on Vanguard. Niger flood 1,249 communities in 30 states. FCT at risk, federal government warns. Says no water was released from Kainji, Jeba dams. Notes flood caused by heavy rainfall, heightened by global warming as states take up federal government's challenge. However, on that leading story just beneath it, we have an illustration from that story, and it highlights high flood risk states. Let's look at the high flood risk states as encapsulated by Vanguard newspaper. We have Abia, Adamawa, Akwa Ibom, Anambra, Bauchi, Bayelsa, Benue, Borno, Cross River, Delta, Ebonyi, Edo, FCT, Gombe, Imo, Jigawa, Kebbi, Kogi, Kwara, Lagos, Nasarawa, Niger, Ogun, Ondo, Osun, Oyo, Rivers, Sokoto, Taraba, Yobe, and Zamfara. These are the high flood risk states as listed or identified by federal government and captured by Vanguard newspaper underneath the leading story. Niger flood 1,249 communities in 30 states. FCT at risk. Still on Vanguard newspaper, we have a picture that gracing the cover of Vanguard. Bill Gates honored, gets CON. And the caption, we have the picture of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in a handshake with Bill Gates, owner, founder of Microsoft, and the founder of Bill Gates Foundation. We see the president presenting, conferred the national honor of Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic to the founder of Gates Foundation, Bill Gates, in Lagos yesterday. Federal government saves 12 million deaths from cervical cancer in 9 months. First Lady. Presidency to Afenifere. Tinubu's economic reforms painful but necessary. It will be recalled that the Afenifere has actually criticized President Bola Tinubu's administration and saying that the midterm report is a dismal one. However, in response, presidency replies Afenifere says Tinubu's economic reforms painful but necessary. We move to the stories about the masthead of Vanguard. USSD charges telcos threatening to withdraw services over banks' misinformation. USSD charges telcos threatening to withdraw services over banks' misinformation. Chief of Army Staff Oluyede relocates to Benue with PSOS. Killer headers creating community of widows. Benue women cry out. Anti-kidnapping protests on Easy Camp as soldiers policemen take over Abraka. Anti-kidnapping protests on Easy Camp as soldiers policemen take over Abraka. Insecurity. Tinubu Matawale should be commended for reinvigorating Navy Saka. And it's on that note we conclude the review of front headline stories on Vanguard newspaper this Wednesday. Don't forget to log into the website of Vanguard for continuation of these headline stories. From Vanguard, we move over to the last paper we have on our lineup, and that is Nigerian Tribune. Nigerian Tribune says Benue killings, Army chief moves in, deploys more troops, logistics. Benue killings, Army chief moves in, deploys more troops, logistics. Police relocate area commander, tactical teams to troubled local government areas. Government key 16 burn several houses in plateau communities. Terrorists killed 3 villagers in Kwara, and one other paper has it on its menu. But however, I called it New Terror Group Mahmuda. And it's also captured in Nigerian Tribune among one of the kickers. Terrorists killed 3 villagers in Kwara. From that leading story, we move to other stories on the cover of Nigerian Tribune. Man force from Cocoa House topmost floor. USSD banking charges to be deducted from airtime. NCC. Nigeria's $1 trillion ambition at risk without policy stability. Nigerian Exchange Chairman. Nigeria's $1 trillion ambition at risk without policy stability. Mokwa flood. Federal government blames climate change on regulated buildings. Damage devastating. Niger government. Economic reforms painful but necessary. Presidency. Challenges opposition to offer viable alternatives. Affirms under Tinubu the cup is half full. Passengers lament trek long distances as gridlock on Ibadan-Lagos highway persists for hours. And from Nigerian Tribune, we conclude today's newspaper review on the program Inside Nigeria. Don't forget to log into the website of Nigerian Tribune for more of those stories. However, this is where we conclude today's Inside Nigeria. And don't also forget to visit the website of Leadership for more of these stories. My name is Winifred Webo, and here is wishing you a beautiful day ahead. And don't also forget to log in for news on the hour on this station. Thanks for joining us.
Leadership for God and country.
Thank you for
Be
watching.
part of
For
our brand.
sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158.
Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158.
Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last